So let's take a look at the transcript of the video I sent. All explained in the previous video. So as you can see here, I am introducing myself and explaining the entire story of my illness and why I was going to Enki, my history with my health, my sensory, the issues with the energy, the neurodivergency, how I absolutely worship Jesse without even knowing him because of his products working on the herbalist protocol, that it's really serious stuff that they're dealing with. I said 6 months, but it was actually 4. I misquoted. Just about them and how I got in there. And the whole town, because of what had happened with the post and everything, I was talking about how, they might own the town, but this is serious stuff because it's people's health. And, just the way that they're treating each other around there. So I'm just banging on about that and how they breached my confidentiality with stuff and how the yoga chick just twisted things and really messed with me, and the way she talks about that lady's daughter. That the protocol was working. I was telling her about the THC that I was coming off. And, I can't go to doctors because they just put me on pills, and the hospitals, I just react to everything, and I'm just having fucking breakdowns, and I can't handle it. And I'd finally gotten away from it because the things were working with Enki, and I was starting to really open up, but they told me to expect the roller coaster that I was on, which was thrashing me around. And I explained about the THC oil that Jesse gave me, and they had to give me the damage control for it, and I was on heaps of their stuff that I was explaining to her, I'm detoxing heavy metals and pharmaceuticals. I'm trying, 14 of their things. I had that potent THC. I haven't been sleeping. Like, I was explaining it all, that my van wasn't set up, that I went to her hotel. I was explaining to her that I was really sick and I had gone to her hotel. There's a whole group of people that own a whole group of hotels, and she's one person in a whole group who owns one of them, and that hotel was my familiar, and because it was connected to them and they were my familiar, like, this is all really important that you see all this because of what they say I said, and you can see here what I said. So I was explaining what happened with the heater and the shower, and the hot water, and then how the fire brigade came. And at this stage, I didn't actually know yet what a PTSD seizure was. It was well after I'd been having them for so long that I even found out about what the difference is between a seizure and seizing up and PTSD seizures, and I've experienced all of them. So, I seize up a lot from medications when I have reactions. I've had a couple of actual seizures from those reactions, and I now know what a PTSD seizure is because it's very different, and they started happening in her hotel. But I thought it was just a reaction and not sleeping, but it was my nervous system going to a whole new fucking level of trauma and fear and shock. So explaining all that, and then how I went into Anki, and they were amazing, and they took me out the back, and they were helping me out of it. But then, Jesse told me that he had a different relationship with herbs to Taj, and because he didn't have my protocol, and I was explaining all of that. And then he started asking me that I'm on drugs and switched it around that I was the problem. But I didn't realize all that at first. So for the first couple of months, I was so confused and crying and scared and just ranting. I didn't have rage until the IVO hearing. I'll explain that later with all the other evidence. The rage really kicked in with the IVO hearing. So I was explaining all about the energy and what happened, when I reached out for the massages, and then I went back in for the salts, and her daughter wouldn't come near me. And that's what started it all, is I was like, what the fuck? Why wouldn't she come near me? And then the other owner is the one who came out, and I went into freeze response. And I was explaining all that, my freeze response, that it was like all just like hospital and everything all over again. And I was just losing my shit in emails, like ranting to the main herbalist, like, how could they do this? Because she was away on holiday. How could they do this? I wasn't on drugs. And she was just like, first she wasn't responding, and then she's like, I know it's a trigger. He didn't know that. I'm like, yes, he did. Like, what the fuck? She knew that I was punching myself out. Like, they knew all this, right? So I went over that, everything. I want my money back, and went over the figures, showing receipts of what I spent at Enki, 600, 800, 1,000 something here. Blamming on and on and on. I will do something about it. I've already taken the Wollongong Hospital to the HCCC, blah, 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 talking about that, that I do my homework. I've got evidence. There was no duty of care and how that was handled. That could take away her registration. I've spoken to ex-clients and locals and people he went to school with and ex-staff to know that other people have been sick from the products, other people have been gaslit. I know that his mother has covered things up over the years, and I don't want her to swoop in this time because I want you to fix it, because your daughter would get taken down. While you guys were overseas, I was bitching and flapping and carrying on about what happened. They blamed daughter because she wasn't here, and she's the one who looked at me like that in the shop. Just a cafe. It wasn't, because they're saying, we're just a cafe, we can't help you, is what he was saying. They were talking shit like she's immature, saying things like she's just a kid, she just works hospo. They were saying things like she's immature and speaking to her about her like she was an idiot. And, I started talking about how I was weird with my energy, and I could tell that they were, that I knew he was not going to stay with her, and that there was something weird. And then I found out the breakup, that's why her energy was weird. I was like, I don't trust him. If I go to his mum, he's going to cover it up. He's going to continue hurting people. And in the meantime, your daughter's going to get ruined. I don't want that. Aside from the 5,000 that I just showed you, my grandma's been replacing my wages and funding the damage control. Blah, 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 talking about that. I'm going to throw some figures at you. Sadie's having a drink. I'm going to throw some figures at you. It's not I don't carry on like I'm not a liar. If it was just someone ripping me off in a cafe, but it's not. It's my health, my life. Even my rabbits started talking about how they got affected, and I want to start talking about the therapy healing business, like, and how Phoebe's been so affected, that it's just really cruel. And then I started talking about how they were making fun of me for the post that I put in there. And then it's just like, why would you want to be like part of that? So then I go on and on and on about the money to show the deposits. These amounts are from my grandma that she put in. And saying it, didn't have to go like this. It could have been fixed, but I was gaslit. I was left to rot. I was ostracized, made fun of. It could have been resolved. The longer they spat on me, the longer I've been out there gathering evidence. So I started really going off and saying that I was going to expose everyone involved about everything that happened about the hotel and, everything that happened. That I spent the whole video explaining everything, but because I was getting triggered, my language was starting to change. And they only focused on what I said right at the end, rather than just trying to clarify it. But not only that, they lied and committed perjury. And what I got charged with, what they said that I said in here, I didn't actually say. And then they added all this other stuff. You're going to see it. So I have, acknowledged my part, what I've done wrong. Like, I scared her and I was sorry. I was trying to explain, and it went so next level. The moment that I saw her lie and everyone join Jesse and lie, I stopped caring, and I was just so angry with everyone. Anki with the herbalist, but that would end up taking everyone down. And in my triggered state, I was trying to say to her, it's really going to fuck you up, and I don't want that. I want you to stop him so that I don't have to do that. And I understand that she would have been scared, which is why I apologized to her. I apologized. I tried to explain to the informant, the other interview person, the lawyer, the judge, like all of them, her family. I tried to tell them, I'm sorry for scaring you. I was triggered. I didn't mean to give a deadline, and I didn't mean to come across aggressive, but you can see in there that I don't want your money. It's an opportunity to hash it out. And for the police, when I say aggressive, you're going to see the only threats I made were to sue, report, and expose online with reviews. That's the aggression, with his swearing it's gonna fucking rain for everybody in my trigger. But I didn't actually do a single thing they said I did. Wait till you see what they said. From this to that is just what? To get to the bottom of it for real, but no. See, look at this. I have enough to sue and I haven't. I have enough. I could be blackmailing you, but I'm not. I want my money back and enough to get the fuck out of this that Jesse put me in. I want enough money that I don't have to work for another few months. Blah, blah, blah. Where is it? I'm going to ask you to be a mother. I'm not going to throw a figure at you because I'm not a blackmailer. I'm going to ask you to be a mother, a decent human being. Put yourself in my shoes. Imagine if it was daughter. Imagine if you weren't around to take care of her and she was out there sick trying to get help. And people were doing this to her where she went. I need my money back. $42,500, and I want you to round it up with enough to take care of me to get out of this. I'm going to show you something. And I show out the folders of the evidence. And this is just Enki. But the biggest problem here, this motherfucker pointing to Jesse and the stuff that he's been doing in the oil. This oil here needs to be removed from his shop. He should not be selling the THC oil. It's not okay. Many people have reacted to that. And the reaction is fucking people's nervous systems up, causing more nerve damage than I already had. I'm not wanting to do anything with this, but I'm letting you know right now I will. I want my money back. I want an apology. And I explain, I want all this. I want to know it's from him, not a lawyer, not his mom, explaining everything, acknowledging it, apologizing, fixing it so that other people don't get hurt. And I even say here, if I get a stupid roundup figure where you just round it up to 50, that's going to insult me because no one can rely on $7,500 for anything. I wanted my 42.5 back. And I wanted enough money to because I wanted to pay that back to my grandma. So basically, I spent 5,000 something there, but then I lost 37,000 from losing my job because this had been 6 months or 5 months or something that had passed. And I was having to spend extra money on things that were collapsing around me and getting into debt and all kinds of things because of it. And basically, I was begging her to help get him to refund what I spent and help me get out of what I was sinking in because of it, because it was all because of his oil making me sick. And then the lie and everything that happened and how fast it got. He's dealing with a really sick person, and he knew and used my triggers of, like, being accused of drugs, used all the information about Googling them and, you know, the crush stuff to make out like I was a stalker. Like, he really fucked with me when you see what's coming. And it's like, mate, every single thing that they say I didn't. And they were relentlessly coming at me and wanting me to, like, go to jail for 10 years for all these things that they said I did that I didn't do, because I was flapping on and on, wanting help out of this begging. The mistake I made was all, you know, the language I was using when I got triggered sounded all blackmaily, but you're going to see that I not once asked her for money. I not once specified an amount. And I not once made any threats other than to report, sue, expose. Wait till you see what they said next. This is just the transcript. That's going to be in the next video. Which would have just left me with like $5,000. I wanted enough money to keep having a few months off work, go and see specialists and get myself fixed. I was fucked. And I was getting into debts. It wasn't just my grandma I owed money to. I was borrowing from other people as well. And I was getting so sick that I wasn't able to have relationships with people. And it was just really fucking with me because I was becoming so toxic. I was just losing so much. So I understand that it would have been scary, but it also could have been resolved. What you see, what happens next, what they said and what they did is really, really fucked up. So I said, you know, if I can get all that money back, I won't post anything. I won't do any stories. I'll delete everything. And that means I can actually leave the fucking town. But look here, I said here, I also want someone from Enki to go onto my post in the grapevine, like it, the one where I'm saying, you know, people need to be kind, agree in some way that supports it, respond by saying they're going to do some discounts for locals at Enki or something for the locals. Because there were like over 200 comments and replies. So many people having a go at me, but so many people saying that the locals got kicked out, the elite took over, there's a real nasty vibe on that street. It was really fucked up. And people were being really mean. And I was so sick. And I wanted them to go in there and just do something. Guess what? After that post, you started seeing things advertised, discounts for locals and, you know, locals nights and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, there you go, cunts. So then I was like, if you do that, I get to leave. I get to leave this stupid fucking town. I get to go away, leave you alone, take care of my health, fix what he did, forget that it ever happened. But if you don't do that, I'm stuck here. And if I get stuck here, it's going to fucking rain. As if it wouldn't. As if you wouldn't want to jump up and down getting stuck in that. Okay? So I have eyes everywhere and I am this fucking close to pressing the button. I was so triggered. I won't just sue him. I will put reviews on every platform about my experience at Bellazona and reviews on every platform about my experience at Enki. I will put a complaint. That's where I fucked up as well. I wasn't meaning to threaten her with putting reviews about Bellazona, but what I was trying to say is, like, if you're gonna actually join him, I will go and put a review, because what happened at the hotel was, like, not okay, and I'm trying to, like, protect everyone, but if you're all gonna jump on me, I'll just expose it all. My language about that, I owned it all. Did I deserve the perjury and lies that came next and everything that happened next? About Taj and Jesse. Taj is the other herbalist. I have kept all of Taj's emails out except for about 6 or 7, I think there are, that you're going to see, which we need, which are going to help just prove that Jesse's lying. Just like how you saw the ones that showed that he gave me the THC. It's really important because he's denied that whole thing. And you can see that she never once mentioned it in the clinical notes either. But with all the emails that I have with her, like, I'm not trying to take everyone down. And I actually meant to cover her name, but I'm not going back. It's been taking me months to fucking do this. I'm not trying to take her down. I'm trying to show what Jesse did what the police did and how damaging it is. This was a paid specialist, and then the police. So I understand that this woman would have freaked out at first, but the police job were to come in and go, hang on a sec, she didn't ask for any money from you. She's trying to apologize. Their job was to get to the bottom of it, right? So when you see what actually comes, I'm showing you what I did. I'm owning everything. Once that story gets out, it's going to be a shit show for everybody. You may be able to pay off the judges and do it all in court. I knew someone who was doing a story on Country Towns who was just traveling around. And when I told him about that, he was like, holy shit. And I started, that's when I was going down that rabbit hole about the town. And I was actually going to help him do a story about it. But then it just got so personal with everything that was happening to me that I, throughout the hearing, I ended up going, nah, man, I'm taking this on lone wolf fucking warrior on this one, mate, for trauma. It's about the trauma for me, not the town. But what you're going to have to go through to get to that is everybody seeing that the crippled orphan with crazy health issues who was on her knees in a healing town, who got that made sicker than when she went to the parents to help, so that she doesn't have to stoop to the level of going to court. That the parent refused to help, joined the side of the monster. And it's not going to look good for you or the syndicate or anybody. Not for you, not for daughter. And they're all going to get dragged through it. In return, if you do this for me, ma'am, I will delete every file. I will put... This is why I understand that she went, oh my God, this is blackmail. But anyone with a brain, once they've calmed down, and especially police where their job is to get to both sides, I was expecting to have to deal with police. And I wasn't expecting what they all did, though. Daylesford out of my mate's article, because that's coming up, mate. I was so triggered. That's coming up in the second week of December, blah, blah, blah. And I talk about that, how it's not nice attention. Jesse's the one who decided that. My friend wasn't bringing Daylesford into it. He's doing a project on the whole of the East Coast, and he hadn't come here. He wasn't going to. When I told him what happened with Enki, he was disgusted, and it changed the angle of the story because of it. He could make a lot from that story. It's important that you hear all this because this is really what fueled what they did next. You know, they didn't want people knowing because of all the stuff that I was saying. You're going to see. And I'm willing to help him do that. He will blow it out of the water. Your town will be tainted, and it will all be because of Jesse. I don't want to do that. I'm reaching out to you because I actually think that out of everyone in that elite group of assholes, I believe that you are the nicest. I believe that as a mother, because I know that Blah has a good heart. She was not raised by a cunt. You're a good woman, ma'am. Please do the right thing. Bank details. Triggered further, where I made more mistakes here, giving the fucking deadline. And I bang on about the deadline saying, I know it's a large transfer, but I need some sort of money, at least put in, by in the next 24 hours. So I know that he's taking me seriously. Otherwise, I'm just going to make it fucking rain. Here, again. I don't want your money, ma'am. I'm talking about you making Jesse and his mummy, who wants to swoop in and fix that little bastard's doing. She can pay it. I don't want a cent from you. I want your heart and your influence and your brain who knows this is not right. Also, on that note, ma'am, go in there, have a look, dig around. Your daughter idolizes that man like all of the other girls do. He's very manipulative. He's very good at what he does. He's dark and he's dodgy and he's doing things that you don't want your daughter involved in. She has so much potential to actually be a healer and do great things. She does not need him to be successful. Then I'm just blanging on and on and on about that, So you can see the date there, yeah? That it's, I said by Friday the 13th. In the IVO hearing, she actually lied about the date that I went in and said it was when they had a function on. But then you can see on the statement that's coming, she was just having dinner. It wasn't at the function because there was 2 weeks between when it happened. There's just so many lies. That's not included on the next video, so I'm just mentioning that now. That you can see the date there, because even that was lied about. I'm like, every little thing was to just try and make me worse. I want the money back, or this is going to, be out and everyone in the country is going to know everything that's going on in Daylesford. And I don't, that's what happens when you leave someone out to rot who never sleeps, sees his everything. I've got nothing left to lose. The herbalist had the information. She knew not to fuck with me. And when I say fuck with me, like, I'm a truth teller. As soon as anyone does something wrong, I just fucking dob. I protect good people, and I come back at anyone who does something wrong. She knows, but she chose to side with the demon to save her connections and her place at Enki. So to her, I said, you're a fucking coward, and that makes you just as disgusting as him. But look at me, I'm still trying to protect her. You can see I'm covering her name. I've missed a couple, but I'm not trying to take anyone down. I just want to show what people are doing and how disgusting it is and what it's doing, and what it did to me. It destroyed my life. The other owner, you're so innocent. Oh, no, you're not. You're good at playing it, blah, blah, blah. You're about to be a mother, used to be a nurse, blah, blah, blah. Hope your baby needs help and can't get it. The daughter, you're way better than them. You're not that. Get out of your head that I had a crush on you. Then I talk about, the reasons why I wouldn't actually want to, I wasn't attracted to her. I even apologized for being rude here because I was trying to explain that I wasn't attracted to her, but I was rude about it, and I didn't mean to be. I was basically saying that I didn't even notice her. There was nothing physical. That Handmaid's Tale comment was like the whole time that I knew her, I was drawn to her energy, but she was just sort of washed out and not even someone you would even like blending into all the hippie stuff, and it's the moment they broke up, she became vibrant and alive and was dressing different, and it was she stood out, and I was like, she looked really different, she came alive. And I was basically trying to say, until you came alive, I didn't even notice you physically. There was nothing. I wasn't attracted. And I was trying so hard. I was so triggered. And I didn't mean to be rude. And I still am sorry for being a cunt about that. I never like to be rude to people about stuff like that. And then I was explaining that you're better in here. Heart, smarter in their head. You don't need him. Your mum's rich. Get out there and make a fucking business for yourself. Get away from the darkness. You're going to get dragged down, man. This was, yoga and massage chicks. Couldn't give a fuck. Jesse, you need to stop what you're doing. You are not an Enki, which is a medicine god. You are not a god. You are one fucking man. And you are destroying lives. You are brainwashing, intimidating, and using girls who are 15, 20 years younger than you. You have a sickness, brother, and you need to fucking sort it. Mummy can't fix this one, because if you don't change your ethics, your values, your morals, and how you run things in there, I'm going to take you down. And if you even try to come after me, I will come back and I will fuck you in every way possible. Give me my fucking money. Thank you. So, you can tell how triggered I was, I went off at him. I started telling the lady that she would get affected. I insulted the daughter, but it was because it was right at the end. I was so triggered. Doesn't mean I deserved what came next, and I actually own it all. I'm very aware that I was, coming across as, demanding and, aggressive with the swearing. But everything I threatened was something through a legal channel about what they did to hurt a sick person or break a law. So it was a really emotional video. where I was on a roller coaster, getting upset, crying, and then getting triggered and getting angry when I was talking about certain things. But you can still see that the whole time I was just trying to make her understand everything and really just get her help to fix it as a mother. How the police did what's next is beyond me, and you're going to see exactly everything that I'm talking about as we go through the next videos. This is what's happening to people with serious trauma who are just trying to get help. I'll never be able to open my business or even get a job or do anything. I'll never be able to buy, a property to settle down, anything that I was planning and ready for. It had so many domino effects. And what happened next took it to an entirely next level. And this is the people, I paid them to help me. And then we're paying police officers to keep us safe and protect us. It's disgusting. Wait for the next video. You'll see exactly what I mean.